Seijiro Takeshita, professor at the University of Shizuoka. Thanks for joining us. Let's talk first about just your reaction to this.
Well, just amazement, because as we've been reporting in Japan, we don't have any gun crimes. In fact, last year, only one person died out of this gun crime, and the year before last, it was only four. So you can say that we don't have any, gun crimes in Japan. And to have these political violence towards our, former prime minister, who had been the longest, residing, prime minister, who did so many, for this country, being shot at, this stage just 2 days before the upper house election, is a total shock.
Yeah, and I mean, the former prime minister is such a figure in Japanese politics. He was the longest serving prime minister, and I'm sure going out there to do a speech on the street, he was doing something he's done so many times before. I think for audiences elsewhere, especially the United States, the fact that so little security is needed for a former premier is quite amazing.
Well, there were lots of regional SPs from the prefecture of Nara, and there was also SP that is associated with the former prime ministers. But, it's pretty clear that because we just had, the election just coming up in just 48 hours, I think the planning of precautionist was perhaps not enough. And also, as you kind of connotate, maybe, people had their guards down because we simply don't have any, gun crimes. A lot of these, I would say, crimes are often done by, knives and machetes. So,
True.
that could be another, negative spot that people missed out.
The defense minister of Japan is calling this attack a profanity against democracy. Is this likely to have an effect, as you said, on elections only 48 hours away? And the country must be in a state of shock and already mourning just the fact that this happened.
Well, I would like to think that this would give a positive jab in the arm for many people that, in order to protect our democracy from these barbarous acts, we have to go out and vote. The voting ratio in Japan has been declining quite rapidly. And I would like to think that this really would be a call, to join in to fight against these kind of, barbarous act. And, unfortunate for this person who did this, barbarous act, I would say that, probably the popularity of Mr. Abe and LDP will actually rise on back of what we call a get well vote, which will be probably given to the LDP and the current government.
You talked about how difficult it is to get a gun in Japan, how extremely rare gun crime is. We don't know what the motivations were, of course, yet for this attack. But if it is a mental health issue, how are those kinds of cases dealt with in the country? And is mental health care readily available? Is that something that's going to come up as, one thing that the country really needs to look at?
Well, this is one area where Japan perhaps needs to look again. This is a very much of a closed society, and we still have a situation where if one is left off from the ladders, in other words, going to a company or whatever, organization right after college, blah, blah, the typified, methodology. If one goes beyond or out of the normal ladder, then many people are often seen as an, outsider. It's a very much of an egalitarian community, and maybe we need to rethink, about these people who are often left off. But, this person who did this act, cannot be categorized as those people who needs these kind of, help. I think it's much more serious and deep down than that.
Yeah, very interesting discussion. Seijiro, appreciate your being with us.